I think there's a way they could just resubmit another, just, scrap the SB 55.
Yeah.
So, and have less affordability. They have to really pick off another, just there's that.
It's not gonna be, we're having that same problem with properties in Campbell. That they're just not building with the affordable housing because it just doesn't pencil out. Drives me nuts, but,
You did more for both?
they're waiting for an opportunity to
Live on YouTube.
build those remedies and
That's right. Thank you.
lower interest rates.
I'm not.
You share with your wife.
Raises come down.
Right.
My brain is like.
No, they don't. Tomatoes only.
We all,
Yeah.
recording is in progress.
All right.
Live streaming.
Oh, okay, very good. Yes, thank you.
Thank you everyone for your patience as we reach quorum. Welcome to today's meeting of the Santa Clara County Cities Association JPA LAC meeting. If I could please have a roll call.
Ann Bybee,
So present as alternate Terry Hines.
okay, excellent.
Thanks for the prompting.
You're welcome. Kitty Moore,
Here.
Greg Bozzo,
Here.
Pete Daly, Kavita Tonka,
Rajiv Bhatia as alternate.
okay, great, thank you. Rob Moore, Carmen Montano,
Here.
Lon Allen, Mark Turner,
Here.
Ellen Kamei, Ed Lowing, George Casey,
Here.
Kelly Cox, Tina Walia,
Here.
Chelsea Chang. With 8, we have quorum.
All right, excellent. With that, we will go on to oral communications. Oral communications is that portion of the meeting which is reserved for individuals who would like to address the Legislative Action Committee on any matter that is within our jurisdiction but not on the agenda. Do we have anyone who would like to offer oral communications?
No one online has raised their hand.
No one online, and I see none in the room. So I will close oral communications and we will move on to the first item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from the last Legislative Action Committee meeting. I trust that everyone has had an opportunity to review them. I'll open this for public comment.
No one online has raised their hand.
Okay, seeing nothing in the room, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 14th, 2025.
Awesome.
I'll second.
Call roll?
Yes.
Roll call, okay. Motion to approve the minutes from the August 14th, 2025 Legislative Action Committee meeting was made by Bozzo, seconded by Turner. I'll call just whoever's in the room. Campbell,
Aye.
Cupertino,
Aye.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Los Altos Hills,
Yes.
Los Gatos, oh, sorry, I meant to call them. Milpitas,
Yes.
Morgan Hill,
Yes.
San Jose,
Yes.
Saratoga.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Very good. We will move on to item 2, which is the chair update. So we have 2 small items here. First, just a general update. We are at the very end of the legislative session. Any bill that is going to pass at this point will have to pass by the end of the day tomorrow. In addition to that, any bill that was going to be amended needed to have been amended under the rules as of 5th. And any item that was going to actually make it out of committee needed to have finished up through appropriations on the 29th of last month. A great many bills, including some that we have been monitoring and took positions on, did not survive that process. So that's all just a general thing. If you have a particular bill that you've been watching that we haven't considered, that you're interested in, now is the time. Make sure that you call your representative and register your opinion because there's only one day left. Our tracked bills, just to give you a general update, I'll go through the list of ones that we have considered first. AB 650, which we supported and which is sponsored by the League of Cities, is on the assembly floor for its concurrence. So that means it got through both houses and it will receive concurrence. If memory serves, it was in the daily file for today's consideration. SB 79, which has provoked a lot of interest from different members of this committee, which is opposed by the League of Cities and on which the Cities Association took no position, is on the assembly floor and is live. It would have to go back to the Senate for concurrence. That's presumed to occur tomorrow. SB 457 by Senator Becker, which was a modification of the housing project application denial process for builder's remedy projects, is technically a 2-year bill that failed in committee, but was granted reconsideration. And speaking with the author, it's not clear that that bill will move forward. SB 753 by Senator Cortese, which is a special business regulation for abandoned shopping carts, remains live and is on the assembly floor. This committee took no position on it. The League of Cities supports it. AB 736 by Assemblymember Wicks, the Affordable Housing Bond Act of 2026, which we considered last time and are watching, is continuing through the legislature. As a bond act, it is not subject to the same rules that it needs to pass through the legislature tomorrow. The League of Cities does support it. We are watching it, as I said. AB 632 by Assemblymember Hart, administrative fees, fines and penalties, judgments and liens, which we did take a support position on at our last meeting, and which the League of Cities also supports, is out for concurrence. It passed the assembly floor, sorry, the Senate floor, 28 to 9 to 3, so it has seemingly broad support. SB 326 by Senator Becker, the California Wildfire Mitigation Strategic Planning Act, is live. It was last on the assembly floor. It passed out of appropriations very handily. It seems to be broadly supported. We support it. The League of Cities supports it. It seems to also be the location for a lot of other fire-related bills that had similar provisions that did not make their way out of appropriations in their respective second houses. AB 66, which was a CEQA exemption for emergency egress routes that we considered at our last meeting, is a 2-year bill. It is in its policy committee in the second house. That is something that we are watching and can continue to engage with the author on. In addition, I'll just go through the list of all of the other bills that we have at least considered looking at, but that we have not had the opportunity to examine. AB 262 by Caloza, the California Individual Assistance Act, which was related to fire, is a 2-year bill. AB 846 by Assemblymember Connolly, an incidental take permit for endangered species to facilitate fire safety, is dead. It was held in suspense. This is one of those fire bills that didn't make its way through. SB 252 by Valadares, a CEQA exemption for underground power lines, is also dead. It died in its house of origin. AB 300 by Assemblymember Lackey, a modification of the requirements of the state fire marshal, is also dead. It was held in suspense. AB 261 by Quirk Silva, lest you think that this is just Democrats stopping Republican bills from moving forward, was also held in suspense. So that bill is also dead. Again, another fire bill. SB 607 by Senator Wiener, which was a CEQA infill housing exemption reform, was passed as part of AB 130. So that bill is technically inactive. SB 677, also by Senator Wiener, which is a cleanup bill for SB 9 and SB 35, is technically a 2-year bill, much like Senator Becker's SB 457. It was granted reconsideration after failing in its last policy committee. SB 346, which is on for today by Senator Durazo, which is a transient occupancy tax for short-term rental facilitators, is on the governor's desk. However, when we get to it later on in our discussion, it is a sponsored bill on the part of the league, and there is a significant amount of industry opposition. So though it is not ordinarily our practice to send requests for either a signature or a veto to the governor, this one is worth our consideration, given that there is ongoing lobbying happening there. AB 393 by Assemblymember Schultz, the Safe Sustainable Traffic Reducing Bond Act of 2026 is live and continues to make its way through the House of Origin. AB 476 by Assemblymember Hart, which expands the list of items that junk dealers are prohibited from accepting, is live and is on the Senate floor. We will be considering that today. AB 1206 by Harabedian, single-family home pre-approved plans is dead. It was held in suspense. AB 726 by Avila Farias, Housing Element Annual Performance Report for Rehabilitated Units is an item we will be addressing today. It is live and on the Senate floor. AB 1359 by Assemblymember Aarons, an exemption from certain statewide housing regulations for jurisdictions meeting their pro rata share of RENA is dead. AB 609 by Assemblymember Wicks, a CEQA infill housing exemption reform likewise was passed as part of AB 130. It is technically, however, a 2-year bill, so it still exists. What her intentions are with it are not known. I have not received a response back from my inquiries to her office. AB 670 by Assemblymember Quirk Silva, planning and zoning for converted affordable housing units, which we will be considering today, is live and on the Senate floor. SB 282 by Senator Wiener, which would have further regulated the installation of heat pump systems, is dead as it was held in Senate appropriations. AB 11 by Assemblymember Lee, which is the Social Housing Act, is a 2-year bill. AB 590, also by Assemblymember Lee, the Social Housing Bond Act of 2026, designed to help enable. AB 11 is live, again, as a bond act. It can continue to sit in its House of Origin. SB 336 by Wiener, a real property tax welfare exemption for moderate income housing, is dead as it was held in Senate appropriations. So that is the update on the various bills. If there were any others that I might have missed, this is the list of the ones that I have that we have at least had a request to examine or keep watch on. Does anyone have any questions? All right.
Just, I'm sorry, on the AB 736, the Bond Act, that, what's the process that's going to go through?
That is not entirely clear. Bond acts, much like constitutional amendments, aren't bound by the same rules of timing going through the legislature. Because in essence, they're going to refer those to the voters anyway. So,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The things that are really bound by this set of timelines are actual statutes.
So we would take a position once we see it on the ballot.
So we could do that. We can also take it now, which is a better time to influence what its contents are. Once it's on the ballot, it's fixed.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
We did discuss it at the last meeting.
Yep.
There was, I think, a general consensus of this is something we should be watching because people had very different views of what exactly sort of position we should take. And it seemed to be in flux as to how exactly the money would be distributed. And obviously that's a reasonable view for people to take. So, to the extent that it gets fleshed out probably after the main portion of the legislative session is done, we could certainly bring it back, and whoever is in this chair next year can bring it back up to.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, I'll go to members of the public.
No member of the public has their hand raised.
All right. I will close out then item 2, and we will move on to section 3, consideration of bill positions. We have 4 bills in front of us. I am aware that all of the most recent analysis documents and the bill text themselves was in the agenda packet, but that the cheat sheet email didn't make its way out until today. I wanted to make sure that everyone had it so that we can facilitate the discussion very easily. Does everyone have the email that was sent this morning?
There's a couple copies of the cheat sheet. Anybody want?
Where's that?
That's right over there. Just the one. That's the one.
I don't have a meeting.
I thought that was only two.
You want to email it to?
Yeah.
Just to make
Dolly,
sure.
was in the email today or not? Sorry,
Mhm.
I missed that.
Yeah, I believe that had come in the email today. I'll just double check.
Huh?
Can resend it.
Oh.
All right, with that, I'll at least go over why I chose the bills that we did there. It's a fairly simple concept. There's a whole lot of stuff that we had generally agreed that we wanted to take a look at. Various members provided their input over the course of the last several months. In going through the entire list of bills that remain, I excluded any bill that we had already spent time considering, any bill that had become a 2-year bill, and any bill that had been abandoned by the author or that had otherwise failed. And then I also excluded anything that had already been either approved by the governor or vetoed. So that left us with really just 4 bills. 2 of them are relatively similar to one another. And the last one, like I said in my opening remarks, is already on the governor's desk, but because there's a lot of industry lobbying around it, it feels worth examining, and it's last for a reason. So we'll start with the first, which is AB 670 by Assemblymember Quirk Silva. This is a change to the way that cities would report annually to HCD as part of their general plan housing element annual progress report, multifamily buildings that were converted to affordable housing through the establishment of a new long-term affordability covenant so that you can actually count portions of it toward your RENA totals. It has very broad support from the League of Cities. I haven't been able to find any opposition that's actually registered to it. People generally speaking like to see new data. This one's a relatively low lift for cities, and it gives you the opportunity to be able to count sites that you would not have previously otherwise have been able to count. As I said, it is currently on the Senate floor. It last passed appropriations handily, and my proposed position for this body is that we request that the board support it. Any questions, any discussion?
What was the last one? Request that what?
That we request that the board support the bill.
Just in my read of the actual bill, did I read in there that it was to allow for the ADU sale as a separate subdivision of the zoned unit? Did I?
There's already a bill like that. That's 1033 from last year.
Okay, all right. All right, maybe it is just referring to it. Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, very frequently they will make reference to prior bills. So that's not shocking.
Okay, thank you.
Might also be a good example of the type of housing unit that could be converted for that purpose.
Does this make it more complicated if you were to update your housing element, do you also then have to modify your general plan and reapprove the general plan?
No, every city yearly is reporting to HCD on your progress toward your RENA allocation, and in general on the implementation of your general plan, right? What this does is to allow you to count towards your affordable housing goals, units of housing that you have converted to affordable housing that are already existing. Right. So if you don't want to, you don't have to, but I think most cities would probably like to take credit for new affordable housing that has arisen in their cities, especially if it already exists.
Good.
So it's mostly an accounting style exercise.
Thank you.
I sent the email, by the way.
Oh, thank
so
you.
everyone should have it.
I'll note for the record that Councilmember Cox is right.
Yes,
Okay.
and Councilmember Chen.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Do you have a copy of the email you sent?
A hard copy?
Yeah,
Or a soft copy of it.
I just emailed it.
if
I
you
just
want-
emailed it now.
Steal mine, you can steal mine.
Can you check his email?
You sent it?
I sent it to everybody. Go on, I'll get my copy.
But we go to public comment if there is any on AB 670.
No one online has their hand raised.
In that case, could I have a motion?
So, Chair, I believe this is not going to be adding more, maybe adding more work, but it is not such a big complicated thing, not having a big impact on the cities. We are already reporting every year. And so I'm happy to recommend to the Cities Association Board a support position on this bill.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I think that Councilmember Bhatia got to it first.
Okay. Okay. So the motion was made by Councilmember Walia and seconded by Bateja?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, motion to recommend that the Cities Association Board of Directors take a support position on AB 670 was made by Walia, seconded by Bateja. I will now take the roll call vote. Campbell,
Aye.
Cupertino,
Aye.
Los Altos Hills,
Yes.
Milpitas,
Yes.
Morgan Hill,
Yes.
San Jose.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't hear
Yes.
you, Councilmember Casey.
Yes. Am I not? Yes.
Yeah, I can
Yes,
okay. barely hear him. but-
Okay,
Thumbs
okay.
up.
Thumbs up is good. Santa Clara,
Yes.
Saratoga,
Aye.
Sunnyvale,
Yes.
motion passes unanimously.
There we go.
Forgot me. Gilroy.
Did we forget Gilroy?
Gilroy, holy cow. Sorry, Gilroy.
Yes,
Thank you.
it happens all the time. Don't worry about it.
Sorry.
I assure you, we do remember. All right, moving on then to AB 726 by Avila Farias. This is extremely similar to the bill that we just described, except that instead of new, or I should say converted multifamily housing, we would allow us to also report in on the number of deed restricted affordable homes that have been substantially rehabilitated. So slightly different concept. These are homes that may or may not have already been deed restricted, but if they were substantially rehabilitated and continue to be in your inventory as such, then you are able to report that out to HCD as well. Relatively simple. Similar sort of situation as well in terms of support. The League of Cities supports the legislation. I have not found any registered opposition to the legislation. Currently sits on the Senate floor. There is Assembly concurrence that will still be required, so I would not expect this to be out until tomorrow. And I didn't see it in the Assembly daily file. It last had otherwise passed through appropriations easily, and in the Assembly 79-0. So we would be certainly saying me too to this particular bill. I'm proposing that the LAC offer a support position. Any questions?
I have one. So would that allow, when it says deed restricted affordable homes, would that include section 8?
So Section 8 is the mechanism by which you pay for housing as the renter. Whether the housing itself is only available to somebody who perhaps is receiving Section 8 vouchers is another question.
So that doesn't include section 8 housing?
Not necessarily, because it's a separate, that's just a separate issue.
Yeah, I know, but
right?
it's still low income, still housing.
Well, it's
for
low income renter, right?
Yeah, the rent, they're renting
But this is about specifically the housing
owners?
that is deed restricted.
for owners.
Just that the housing itself is deed restricted, yes. Right, if there's a deed restriction recorded against the property, that means it can only be rented to people within a certain income bracket.
Yeah.
So in the digest, it says that the bill would permit a local agency to include in its annual report, et cetera, with a specified affordability threshold or at least 15 years old have been substantially rehabilitated.
Mhm.
So far, so good. With at least $60,000 per unit in funds awarded from the city or county. or
Correct.
something.
Yeah, so there's some extra qualification there.
So if we rehabilitate something, but the city or county doesn't spend the money for it.
You might,
Well, if it doesn't-
you might aid it, but if they don't, then correct.
With at least $60,000 per unit.
Correct.
So it doesn't seem to, I mean, it seems to only take effect if the city or county spends that much money to each of those rehabilitated units.
Correct.
So if somebody, if some owner spends that, it doesn't count.
It presumably no,
Okay,
but again, the likelihood of that is vanishingly small because you'd be spending your own money when the deed restriction would otherwise be expiring.
okay.
There's an incentive there for the city to do something, right? If you want to be able to count these things, report them in, you're spending some money to help prolong the life of the housing as usable and deed restricted.
It seems to me that if that was done without the city or county spending those funds, it should still count. I mean, if the owner decided to spend that, it's still deed restricted.
If you want to offer a supportive amended position, that would certainly be a way to do it.
That would put me my recommendation.
Okay. Any other feedback?
I have a quick question for discussion. Support if amended or support with the recommendation to amend?
You can do whichever you want. It is your choice.
I'm just saying it out loud for the Legislative Action Committee.
It doesn't seem to make sense to me that where a city would pay for a deed restriction that then would become the property owner, you'd be paying for that property owner to have an advantage, if I'm understanding it and reading it right.
So I guess the rationale here is simply that they're already subject to a deed restriction, right? So they can only charge so much in rent. That depresses the amount of capital that they have to reinvest in the property. If it is deteriorating and needs to be rehabilitated, then they need to reinvest in it. If there's some sort of aid from the city to be able to do that, then the housing is able to remain as affordable housing stock available and renovated, right? So that it's new, the same way that, say, a landlord might do when a previous tenant who's been there for many years moves out, right? You renovate the place in order to make it competitive with the rest of the rental market. Here, if you have housing that is dilapidated, but is subject to a deed restriction, then trying to keep it available as affordable housing, it makes some sense that there should be some public subsidy. At least that seems to be the rationale.
I guess the concern that I have, if we do that with one property A, what about the other 10 properties in the city? How's there not a preferential treatment being done for that one versus the other 10?
So this doesn't go necessarily to the wisdom of the policy choice of whom you might choose to support with public funds. All it goes to is how you describe your current affordable housing stock to the state. And it gives you an avenue for claiming some credit.
I'm not trying to buy one, just trying to understand it, but that part of it makes sense to me.
Sure.
So the only other comment I'd have is, I agree with everything that you said as being beneficial. I would say if we can offer an amendment or recommendation to change, I don't know what the right way to do that is. But to strike that portion saying with at least $60,000 per unit in funds awarded from the city or county, because it could be a nonprofit that pays that money.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't be able to count it as it's written right now. So we could strike that and just say, as long as $60,000 is spent, or or just if it's been substantially rehabilitated. I don't even know that there's a dollar amount necessary, but
Sure.
you know,
How about I suggest this, since they can't actually take amendments at this point without
Yeah.
the bill being delayed, that we suggest follow-on legislation for that purpose.
sure.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay.
Second. Can you repeat what the motion is?
Yeah, so the motion was to request that the board support AB 726 with a suggestion to the author to offer follow-on legislation that would allow for similarly situated housing projects that are supported by nonprofit money.
Just anybody.
Okay, so in other words, just simply strike the requirement for the
Right.
public support. Okay.
Is there a section number to that requirement? Might be easier to. Otherwise, I'll go back through the recording and I'll get the chairs.
I'm not able to find it right now.
It is. Well, I do have a section number. Unfortunately, as you know, these are not the best organized visually.
I can follow up with you. afterwards.
Yeah, I do have that. Section 1. 65400A subsection uppercase. Well, before that, subsection 2, subsection B. And under that, it is lower Roman numeral 5.
Wow. Okay,
For
It's, if it helps, if you look it
I-
up online, it's the part in blue,
okay.
one of the parts in blue. I can send you a link to that.
yeah, so that stuff will change. It's lines 31 through 40 on numbered page 97 or page 3 of the document itself.
And we're asking them to strike that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry, and I didn't catch who made the, was it? Oh, Turner,
Turner.
gotcha. And who seconded? Mayor Montano?
Montano?
I said it backwards. Okay. Motion to recommend to the Cities Association Board of Directors to take a support position on AB 726 with the suggestion to the author to strike lines 31 through 40 on page 97 or page 3 of the document
In follow-on legislation.
in follow-on legislation. Was made by Turner, seconded by Montano. I'll take a roll call vote. Sunnyvale,
Yes.
Saratoga,
Yes.
Santa Clara,
Yes.
San Jose,
Yes.
Morgan Hill,
Yes.
Milpitas,
Yes.
Los Altos Hills,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Cupertino,
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Very good. Moving on to our next bill, AB 476 by Assemblymember Gonzalez regarding metal theft. The bill would expand the range of prohibited materials that junk dealers and recyclers may possess. It also increases certain record-keeping requirements and increases the fines that are related to scrap metal theft in order to reduce the potential for damage to both public and private infrastructure, and in order to deter people from stealing what are otherwise regarded as valuable component materials like copper wire and iron. League of Cities supports it. The opposition that I have found largely comes from advocates for potential defendants, ACLU, California Action, and the California Public Defenders Association. It is presently on the Senate floor. There is assembly concurrence required because it has taken substantive amendments since it passed its House of Origin. It passed the Assembly floor 79-0. My proposal is that the LAC recommend a support position to the board. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll go to public comment.
No one online has raised their hand.
Any comments? Somebody want to make a motion?
Long overdue. Long.
Second,
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Motion to recommend to the Cities Association Board of Directors to take a support position on AB 476 was made by Bazo, seconded by Bateja. And Campbell,
Aye.
Cupertino,
Aye.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Los Altos Hills,
yes.
Milpitas,
Yes.
Morgan Hill,
Yes.
San Jose,
Yes.
Santa Clara,
Yes.
Saratoga,
Yes.
Sunnyvale.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Excellent. All right, moving on to our last bill, SB 347 by Senator Durazo, as I,
246.
I'm sorry, 346. I cannot read numbers apparently. Is a transient occupancy tax related bill, modifying what short-term rental facilitators like Airbnb and bookings.com have to report or can be required to report by local jurisdictions. Cities do not have to impose these requirements, but the bill would authorize them to do so. The notion there being that they can better regulate the collection of transient occupancy tax and to have a better understanding of which sites in their city are being rented out for this purpose, if it's allowed at all. It passed the Senate floor 40-0, which is unusual. It is supported by the city, I'm sorry, the League of Cities. In fact, it is a sponsored bill. I provided a separate link there to their request that the governor sign it. And as I described earlier, one of the reasons that I brought it forward, aside from it being one of the few bills that is still under active consideration and live, is that there is an awful lot of industry opposition to the bill, despite the fact that it has broad bipartisan support in both houses. Any questions?
Is this also, how does this fit in with Airbnbs?
So if you have a short-term, like a short-term rental ordinance of some kind, it makes
Yeah,
it
we have-
easier for you to,
We have the Airbnb ordinance.
yeah, so it can regulate also in terms of collecting your transient occupancy tax. It makes it easier to do that because they have to report certain things to you. A number of cities have already engaged with this sort of legislation. This is basically the state saying, this is okay, cities can do this. We're going to let you do it and relieve them of some of the pressure that can come from the industry on them specifically.
Does this put an extra burden on the cities? Record keeping and all that?
This is up to the city as to whether you want to have such regulation in the first instance and what degree of imposition you want to make.
Okay, thanks.
Right. So it's, if anything, I would say that this just reinforces local control. Any other comments?
We have something in place and we still had a shooting occur at one of the Airbnb properties and I think we're the first in the country to move forward and being able to keep have Airbnb liable. So whatever, I think I'm supporting whatever we can do to keep.
Very good.
So the League of Cities, are they supporting this?
Yes, it is their sponsored bill.
Oh, okay.
Move to approve?
I need to go to public comment, but I'll take a motion just for the sake of getting us there.
A second.
Okay. Any public comment?
No one online has their hand raised.
Okay, all right, then in that case, seeing nobody in the room, we can go to a vote.
Okay, motion to recommend that the Cities Association Board of Directors take a support position on SB 346 was made by Turner, seconded by Walia. Sunnyvale,
Yes.
Saratoga,
Yes.
Santa Clara,
Yes.
San Jose,
Yes.
Morgan Hill,
Yes.
Milpitas,
Yes.
Los Altos Hills,
Yes.
Gilroy,
Yes.
Cupertino,
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Excellent, all right. Well, with that, we are at the end of our agenda. So I will allow us to close up shop and allow Vice President Walia get to get ready for the next meeting.
I appreciate that.
Okay, is the meeting adjourned?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Casey.
Oh, it's good.